What is up, guys? Welcome back to Scene Invaders episode number 399. I'm Chad. I'm still on the roll, guys. I'm still doing it. I'm
Doing
determined.
great.
That's the only thing I think about now
Hello,
when I say this shit.
Hi, Chad.
Is that I'm going to say my name. We also have Mr. Coach. Mr. Coach.
Just regular hello.
Hello. Regular hello. Works. And Mr. Brad from Canada.
How's it going, eh?
Always the highlight of the week, guys. So we have a slightly
God, aim
different.
higher, guys. Aim higher.
I love it. It's one of my highlights of the week, man. All of this whole entire thing is.
Yes,
but we have something
might as well.
A little bit different going on tonight. James McAvoy has been the talk of the town since, well, Split really, but because of Speak No Evil coming out recently, of course, like he's as relevant as he could ever be. And that caused Brad to kind of dive into a little bit of information about him, and through clips on Twitter came across a podcast that talked about some other movies he was in, because he realized, and I realized through Brad, that I really don't know a ton of James McAvoy's work, even though I think he's incredible. I really took notice of him in Split. So we all kind of wanted to come together on a movie that we had not seen starring him, all watch it and discuss it. And tonight we're starting off with that movie. It's from 2013. It's called Filth. It's from a novel from Irvine Welsh and directed by John Baird. And this was an experience, guys. I'll tell you that. This was a hell of an experience. If you've seen Trainspotting, which is another Irvine Welsh novel translated to film, you know how batshit that movie is. And this movie follows suit in a way, but it's definitely its own beast. And yeah, I think it left us all feeling a way.
Exact opposite as far as the class system goes. Stars James McAvoy as Bruce, a very corrupt detective. He's a sex addict. He's a drug addict. He's a degenerate. And he is trying to get a promotion, all while trying to
Reconnect.
Achieve. Anyway, he's in charge of, or one of the investigators in charge of solving a mugging murder, which is kind of the anti-climactic part of this movie, honestly. But just the machinations around him to show exactly what a despicable person he can be, ruining lives, everyone that he touches. But I hate to say this, I didn't like the movie. I really liked James McAvoy in it. He was that character. He was a narcissist, a degenerate, and like I said earlier, off mic, he's racist, homophobe, alcoholic, substance abuser. Like they
and those are his good parts.
They wrung the sponge dry, like mining from Trainspotting to try and get this guy to do something. Scottish film, so like Chad did, watch it with subtitles.
Yeah, guys, seriously, if you're you're going to be watching at home, unless you're Scottish or whatever. Like, I had to turn subtitles on, or I would have never known what was happening here, even though it is in English.
Yeah, it just seems like one of those projects that, like, somebody read an amazing book and had a great experience with the book and thought, oh, I want to share this with the world, and unfortunately they put it to pictures. I like the
lot of pictures.
Yeah, like I saw what the director was trying to do, and here's the thing: I actually like the director. So after this, he ended up doing Tetris, which was just recently. Which
Tetris
I thought good. I thought was a well done movie, and one of my top 5 or top 10 of 2018, Stan and Ollie. Which yeah, so the Stan and Ollie is the Laurel and Hardy story with Steve Coogan and John C. Reilly. So like, and you can see it. He has the chops for it. I just think it's too dense of a topic, and it is. It's an anti-hero, but even a not anti-hero.
Yeah, there was very little heroic about him. I mean, he wasn't the Punisher,
Yeah.
Sure, he saved a child, but I think out of guilt than anything. But I don't know, man. I think you're right. Just too dense to film, and this thing had more cutaways and flashbacks than a Family Guy marathon. For God's sakes, like it just couldn't stay in one direction for too long.
Right.
Well, it took me a moment to get my bearings with this. I wouldn't say that I even really disliked this film. I think I admired it more than I enjoyed it. And one of my biggest problems that I had with this is that you're watching someone who is really a really despicable and awful person, like do despicable and awful things. And then you get these moments here and there that try and humanize him. And I think that is a normal thing to do with a character like this. But here in Filth, they just never rang true to me. It just never worked. I thought James McAvoy was incredible. And I thought he was able to convey everything he needed to convey. And on a dime could switch from the worst thing in the world to like someone like they're really trying to get you sympathize with. And he is achieving that. But I just thought story-wise, writing-wise, script-wise, it was asking an awful lot to be so jarring at times and changing these things around. But I definitely don't think this is an entertaining movie. I had a friend on Twitter tell me they thought that this was fun. And I was like, I don't know that is the word I would use for this, because I thought it was relentlessly bleak and dark.
It was.
And for certain people, I do recommend this. This is not like a broad recommendation for everyone. By the end of it, it's a heavy and pretty difficult watch. Like it went heavier and more difficult than I expected it to.
Well, there was not much of a redemption arc for a despicable person, and I found this with that Adam Sandler movie. Was it Uncut Gems?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yes, I was
more gems.
I was going to be like,
I love Uncut Gems.
I was going to make a bad joke.
Don't get there.
Happy Gilmore. I mean, no, but go ahead.
Yeah. When your main character, normally you have a character in where you glom onto, which you see through their eyes. You didn't want to see stuff through his eyes or through Adam Sandler's eyes, because they're just awful people.
Yeah.
So I mean,
you say redemption arc, and I mean, like by the end of
any time with them.
Yeah, I mean, by the end of this movie, I mean, this is an older movie. It's from 2013. We're not worried about spoilers on this. So if you're clicking on this with this title, it's not like it's a new release, guys. But by the end of this movie, he kills himself. So maybe that really is the ultimate redemption here for this character, because he's just shown himself to be, and I hate to say this word, but kind of worthless in a way. Like, he has mental illness problems, substance abuse problems, and yeah, those are real things that people face. But I think that like the way that this ended here with him hanging himself is just kind of going to show that this character doesn't really have any redemption, and this is the only way that you could move forward with a character like this. It's either going to be nonstop this for the rest of the life, but he's never going to get any better, really, even though you see glimpses of like him wanting to maybe try, or like little like real moments in life that he's like latching onto. But I thought the ending was appropriate, although again, very, very, very bleak.
Rather. Yeah, so that was my hidden gem.
Yeah, it reminded me of, there's a 1988 movie called Permanent Midnight, starring Ben Stiller, and it's basically the real life story of the guy who wrote for Alf, who was like, the whole thing is like, I'm trying to do better, and then just no, he doesn't. He's just an asshole.
And sometimes
that's kind of how I kind of took Filth of like, yes, and that's kind of how I saw Filth.
But yeah, if you want a relentlessly bleak and dark, and I mean, I think there are attempts at humor here. I never really found anything terribly funny though, because it is just all so heavy and
kind of lost on me,
dark, and it's so kind of depraved in a way, not depraved in like a violent way, but just you're watching a depraved character do depraved shit constantly, it can take a toll on you, I think, after a while, unless it's all building to something that actually really means something. And this movie never really built to anything that really meant something for me. So that was all sort of like for nothing. And again, I don't dislike this movie. I don't love it. It's sort of right in the middle for me. And if that sounds appeling to you, then I do recommend it, because it's well made. It's well shot.
The movie is
energetic. Yeah, it's called Filth. But yeah, no, it was a good recommendation, and it was kind of interesting to step into something like this and kind of go back in time, and especially like as we've all talked about James McAvoy for the last couple of episodes, like at least a little bit. It was interesting to see him do something like this, and maybe honestly, of everything that I've seen, this might be the best performance of his that I've seen because he's asked to do a lot.
Oh yeah,
in this movie.
He's busy.
And you think he's asked to do a lot in Split, which of course he is, but this is just it's different even than that. So yeah, it's for his performance alone. I do think it's worth a watch, but it's not for everybody. And that's facts. And we all went and saw things this week.
Oh, crazy.
And I know this is wild, guys, that we went to the movies or watched something on TV, but it happens, guys, I promise. So I'm actually going to start out all of this and talk about Never Let Go with Halle Berry. I was not excited for this movie, guys. I didn't really know anything about it. I love Halle Berry. I think she's amazing. The snippet of trailer that I saw,
Oscar winner.
Yeah, I think she's always great.
X-Men.
Yeah, The Call. I'm gonna go B movie and go The Call because I love that movie.
Oh, she's the Catwoman.
Oh, and
yeah,
I am a Catwoman stan. It's official, guys. Like that's been established for a minute.
She's
also John Wick's friend
in Marvel.
But this is
John Wick's friend. She's a Bond girl. She's done it all, honestly.
And she's beautiful and sexy and just great. I mean, she's one of the greatest of this generation, in my opinion, as far as actors and actresses go. But yeah, new horror film from director Alexandra Aja, who's I don't know if it was the debut, but this is the film that everyone took note of him was High Tension, a French horror film that the first time I saw that movie absolutely shook me. It is crazy as hell. And if you haven't seen that movie, let me recommend that while I talk about Never Let Go, because it's something you'll literally never forget. I will say that movie never held up on a second viewing for me, but it was the pre-Strange Darling kind of. It was that kind of like mind fucked. By the end of it, you were like, whoa. Only, again, that's why I was kind of curious to go back and see Strange Darling 2 to see if it held up, which it did, but High Tension didn't for me. But yeah, he's made things like Crawl and High Tension, and even knowing that, I was kind of like, So I went into this. It's the quick setup here. A mother and her two young sons live in this house in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere, basically. And they are essentially, well, here, they're essentially bound to this home for reasons.
Satan magic?
No, no. but I don't want to. I think about Satan magic in such a different way too. Like, since you say that, not really, but like, could it be Satan magic? Maybe. But they're bound to this home because it's a protection for them. And this woman is raising her kids, and they, like I said, they're bound to this. They can go outside, but they always have to remain attached to the home by these ropes that are tied around their waist and fixed to the foundation of the home. And I think this same ropes, maybe not. Honestly, I thought this movie was, it tries to play this game where you're not sure where you're going, because she's instilling sort of this fear into her kids about, we have to be protected by this home, otherwise this is going to happen, or this is going to happen. And it slowly sort of like, or not slowly, but it always sort of casts doubt on her character a little bit about what actually is going on here. And is the shit she's saying true? Is she just fucking crazy? Like, it's that kind of thing. So it's sort of a guessing game throughout this. But for me, I thought it was extremely obvious where this was going to kind of overall end up. And I thought the themes and like the message here was, I just found it to be incredibly heavy-handed. I think that this, and I don't have a problem with heavy-handed. I love The Substance, guys, which could not be more heavy-handed. But this just kind of bashes you over the head with this sort of same message that is,
Don't go
it's
outside.
not it's not a no, it's not a bad message, and like the things that it's trying to say are fine, but I think it is just it's just very obvious,
Okay.
and the film thinks it's being clever or thinks it's being more mysterious than what it really actually is. At least to me, I've seen people like who are like still debating like this and what happened here and like the
Okay.
ending of it, and I'm like, did we watch the same movie? Because girl, I'm not sure that we did, because to me, and maybe I'm wrong in this and being too overconfident, but I feel very confident that I know where this ended up, and what this was all about and what it was meant to be. And it definitely tries, and it has moments of greatness. It has one moment that I was about to be genuinely maybe the most upset I had been during a film this year, because it really takes this dark turn for a second. I'm not spoiling it here. And if you see this movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I was like, oh my God, they're really going to like dark like this. So it has moments that are exceptional and some
Okay.
moments of real tension. But unfortunately, it's just sort of lost amidst this like kind of hodgepodge of horror tropes and some questionable questionable like effects in general for the movie that didn't really work for me. And yeah, I don't know. It's a mild recommend for sure. I've definitely seen worse things, especially this year. I've definitely seen worse things, but it's just predictable and heavy-handed. That's where I'll leave it. So this would be a borrow for me.
All right.
But some people, there are people that I see that are calling this like the best horror of the year, and it's all subjective, guys. So if that's the way you feel about it, I am genuinely so glad that you do. And then last night I got a chance to go to an early screening. This movie is actually coming out, I think, wide this week, or this coming weekend, called My Old Ass, starring Aubrey Plaza and Maisie Stella. Is that her name? Maisie?
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it is.
Yeah.
The girl from Coda, I believe.
And it was like an early access screening on a Tuesday night at my local AMC. And it's something I'd been wanting to see. And this is a coming of age story about.
Sorry, not the girl from Coda. She's from Nashville.
Yeah.
The show Nashville.
Yeah.
Sorry.
She's a singer. Yeah, I know she's like a
Yes.
singer and stuff too. But yeah, this is a coming of age story about a girl who Coach talked about this. So I'm just going to gloss over this really briefly, guys, and give my thoughts. Takes some mushrooms with friends one night and meets her future self, her like 20 years in the future self, and has to kind of decide whether or not to heed the warnings of her future self. And I thought this movie was extremely lovely. It's so pleasant. It's so funny. It is sad. I think for me, this hit sadder than it might for most people, probably. If you're more well-adjusted than my ass is, this is a super highly recommended. It's got a sort of a fantastical element to it. Yeah, you're eating mushrooms and like talking to your like future self, and you don't need explanation for that. It doesn't matter if this kind of shit works in the real world. That's not what this is about. This is a film about loving your present day, being present in your life with your friends, with your family, because you just never know when something is going to be the last time, no matter what that is. A last kiss, a last time you rode your bike with your friends catching fireflies as a kid, or any of that. And
I don't think anybody ever does that, really.
No, okay, well, probably not anymore.
I just always wanted to, but I tried and it just didn't work.
I used to catch lightning bugs in a jar and I would poke holes in the top, and then they would die literally like overnight. They would die like overnight. I'm just busy being like a child serial killer. No big deal.
About it, man.
But
me,
yeah,
I used to catch small animals and put them in the fridge, and like we all did it.
I mean,
sure,
Mr. Dauber, no big deal. Welcome to Cinemator's podcast, guys. We're just busy.
We call it Serial Invader. Yes.
Okay, that was
Serial Invaders.
The Serial Invaders. That was Brad.
Yeah. Oh please! I'd never hurt an animal.
There's no extradition from Canada, right?
Okay.
Oh gosh, it's promoted here. We get a beaver pelt if you do it.
There's a reason he can't cross the border. Okay.
It has nothing to do with that other incident.
But yeah, it's a super highly recommended. I think it is just it's a beautiful. For me, this would not be a buy, but for I think a lot lot of people it would. And
you'd do it.
My not a buy is it's just for personal reasons. So, but yeah, it's beautiful and lovely, and I mean, yeah, I just couldn't say enough nice things about it. I know that these guys last night were like, "Oh fuck," when I messaged them, but yeah,
no, it's great. I like those messages.
It's a lovely experience, and it is funny and sweet and cute and well acted. And Aubrey Plaza is always fun, and Maisie Stella, very, very good.
Cool.
And I know I mentioned it last week, guys. I am obsessed right now with The Substance. It is
Curses still not around here.
Oh god, man. And I still can't stop thinking about it. I've seen it twice. I saw it before the show last week, and then I went back literally the next night to see it again. And I'm like exercising every bit of willpower that I have right now to not go see it again. And in saying that, Mr. Coach, who is not a horror guy for the most part, but I have a feeling.
He's got notes.
And I don't know how Coach feels about this. We do not know. He has kept this a secret from us. He went and saw it today. I've been absolutely dying to know, because I am predicting that I think Coach liked this movie, but I could be very wrong here, guys. But that is my prediction, because in getting over a couple things, I think he would appreciate very much like what this movie achieves and what it does. So yeah, I'm dying to hear, and we need to hear about Dolores too, man.
So, The Substance. The best way, like, I don't know if I want to start with the summary first or build up to it. I mean, like, when people have been recommending it, like, I'm surprised that the names Cronenberg and Lynch have not been tied to this, because it is very Cronenbergy and Lynch-topian.
And very Stanley Kubrick in a lot of ways too.
Well, Stanley Kubrick, even there's a great reference to The Shining in it, or several references to The Shining.
Yeah.
I mean, the basic story is Demi Moore is an aging talent in California, some sort of entertainment industry, and she is aging out of her profession. And along comes the opportunity for The Substance to change her standing. I don't want to go like too much into it, because
I agree.
What the movie does is it sets its rules and goes upon them. Like, as long as you follow the movie, you try not to pick apart like the beginning, you're right in there. I will say that this could have been a top 5 movie for the decade, if not like since the year 2000.
Really?
But I still rate it extremely high. Like, basically from beginning to almost
I know
end,
exactly where he's going now. Yeah.
it is a perfect movie, and basically the message just nails you of robbing your future self of comfort, of joy, of anything else for now. Or like, it's, listen,
How far are you willing to go?
Yes, it's the equivalent of like, it really makes you go through your life of like, oh man, I really had like way too many energy drinks, and I've kind of sucked that part of my life away. Or, oh, I smoked too many cigarettes, or this and that. And it's the you start kind of going over the temporary pleasures that you indulge in from your childhood to what you're taking from the other end.
Okay.
It is brilliant.
Is it a take on be careful what you do now because you pay for it later?
Very much.
Yes, okay. But it's also like a look into what the entertainment industry versus men versus women are. Right. You know, the irony is Dennis Quaid, who was just as much a heartthrob in his day as Demi Moore, really hasn't aged as well as Demi Moore has. Now, I know she has done several procedures to become that, but it is a very brave role for Demi Moore. It is a very brave role for Margaret Qualley.
Definitely.
There is a little bit of a part where it's like, you set the rules, now why are you ignoring them?
Mm-hmm.
Then for about 15 minutes, it goes batshit crazy, and then
Yes,
ends amazing. Like the actual ending shot,
the very end,
great.
Oh my god, yes.
And the tough thing, I'm like, I know I'm being really tough on this movie because I know how great it could be. It's a 2 hour and 20-minute movie that doesn't feel like a 2 hour and 20-minute movie, but you can cut out
2 hours and 20 minutes out of that.
It flies. Yes. Oh, it flies up.
You never look at your watch.
No.
Okay, no, I just
and there's very minimal dialogue too. There's not a shit ton of dialogue in this.
It didn't look like they could stretch that much
fiction. And I thought the same thing when I was 15 minutes in.
Okay.
I'm like, what the heck are they going to do with this? How are they going to get 220? Because I even expressed to you guys, like, that's a lot for me.
Yeah.
I could cut 20 minutes of this movie and it's a perfect movie. Like, literal perfect movie. I understand what they did. I don't understand it to the nth degree, because again, I look at like a Cronenberg, like The Fly, of like, there is a certain amount of gross out, but then there is that ending of it, of like, there's only so much you can see of The Fly.
Mm-hmm.
That type of thing. And they really just kind of hit it to you. But yeah, there's two amazing performances. It's an amazing directorial job.
Small cast
is like, it's a lot of mirror time. There's a lot of acting within the mirror, and it's God, it's so provocative, and I want to be like this big champion of it, but there's that little asterisk of it.
And this is not spoiling anything, I'm gonna guess that your issue is the post-fight to the very last like 3 minutes is like,
my issue starts with the fight.
Oh, okay, gotcha. And I can see that a little bit, but
yes, because
without spoilers, I can't talk about
suddenly we're a bionic warrior.
Yeah.
Yes. But then the resolution to that and what happens from that, I'm like, okay, and then it just goes off the rails and then comes back.
It definitely goes off the rails. It goes off the rails in a way that if you don't know what's happening here, nothing's going to prepare you for it. You're never going to see exactly where this is going.
There's going to be a third Scene Invaders where Brad sees this, and then we just let it all out.
We got to talk about
it.
Now,
this is part 2 of a trilogy.
Yes, as bad as Canada has been lately, that will be in 2026.
Maybe.
However,
or at least as soon as it hits home streaming, like, I mean, it's something.
Oh, I'll check it out as soon as it drops.
It deserves to be.
When I saw the trailer, I thought that looks like it's going to make me pleasantly uncomfortable.
The trailer does a great job too of
I wanted to see it, and like I said, the closest showing to me was 40 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I that's the debatable thing, is I could even go on Team Chad here and say it might be worth driving an hour to see.
I think,
but
personally,
because again, on the big screen, because the number one thing that this movie has is sound design.
Oh my God!
Well, I got that from the trailer with Dennis Quaid chewing.
Yes.
Oh, but the entire thing is very precision.
There is everything else. There is a little bit of blood and gore, but like the sound of everything is very heightened and very, very in your face, in your ear. And I think going to the theater will amplify that. Okay. Whereas even at home, I think people will naturally turn down. Well, they'll turn down the sound.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's gonna affect you. It's gonna have a big. It's gonna have a very different effect at home. Something very much like what was the Holocaust movie from earlier this year where you just hear screaming in the background all the time? Fuck, I can't think of it.
Oh, Zone of Interest.
Yes, that movie is incredible. But that movie is going
Happy Gilmore.
Okay, right, Happy Gilmore. So like something like that is just it's going to lose so much effect at home because like the sound design is so vital to that experience.
Yes.
And You're just not. It's just never ever going to be the same. This is
okay.
I've said this.
I might.
I've said this a couple of times, and I really truly mean it, guys. I think that this is a movie, a horror film specifically, and especially a body horror that people are going to talk about really like for the rest of our lives at our age, for sure. And 20 years from now, people are going to look back on this and be like, I would have given anything to seen this in a theater opening weekend. It's like monumental, instant classic body horror. Yes, it's crazy as hell, but we're not get as a horror fan, and like the most resident horror fan here, or the most horror loving person here, we just don't get gifts like this, and like the practical effects and shit that are on display here are just, they're just like, they stand alongside the classic shit you hear about that people talk about that are always going to be talked about in horror. And this just like nestled right in there, right beside them with no effort.
I'm sure I was shook after this. And it is funny. I am I work at nights. So a lot of times I see movies matinees and middays.
Yeah, that's how I usually do.
Because of that, I tend to share the audience with the elderly. And I will tell you that there was 4 total people in today's screening, and I was the youngest by 25 years.
Okay.
So, and I am in my late 40s. So, and it's funny, there's a service here in Pennsylvania called Rover. It's what our lottery money goes to. Basically, if you're an older person, you can call a number, and basically this little truck will take you wherever you need to.
Oh,
that's cool.
That's dope. I love that.
I like that.
Well, yeah, but you gotta be old enough for it.
Yeah,
if you can make it there, it's dope. Like
Dolores was old enough for it.
This thing would have been awesome in my 20s, but
yeah, right. Yeah. There it is.
But so like I left the movie right away because I was just like, oh, I gotta get back and finish Filth, and like prep for the podcast and everything like that. And then I got out the door, and I'm like, I have to ask these. And listen, it took these a long time to get out.
They probably sat there and looked at each other like.
Well, here's the irony. I was sitting down in the handicap seats. They were up like mid row, like. So I mean, it was, and it's so funny because all 3 of them were right out of Central Casting, like white curly hair, just very slow. One had a walker, like why did you go up the stairs? But okay.
Someone was sitting in the handicap. No,
so like they came out, and I said, listen, I'm sorry, ladies, but I have to ask, what did you think of it? They're like, well, that was something. I said, well, was it something good or something bad?
Give me something. Come on.
Right. And they're like, well, no, it was very thought-provoking and very visceral and very good. And then the one lady introduced herself as Dolores to me. So I have a friend of Dolores now.
All right, Dolores.
And Dolores was just like, yeah, it just kind of went sideways there. I'm like, yes. I'm like, I'm okay with it to this part. And then it just goes. And I said, if you get rid of that, isn't this an amazing movie? They're like, well, it was a very good movie. But it could have been great. I'm like, all right, perfect. Like
I was shocked when I heard they made it all the way through it.
Dolores knows her shit. so good for Dolores.
Shout out Dolores.
But yeah, I did have to leave, but I wanted to, and also they were just kind of uncomfortable with the random guy interviewing him after the blood-soaked horror movie. So, and I wouldn't even call it a horror movie. It is an art movie more than anything else.
But it's a very, I think, very accessible. I think it's accessible. It's not hard to understand what's going on. Everything's very plain,
right?
But it's clearly this is an artistic statement. You are watching an artist at work. It felt to me like I told him before he went to see it. It felt like everything was precision in this movie. Everything that makes you uncomfortable it's not gratuitous, in my opinion. It's all meant to do something, and it's to pummel this message home. And yeah, I think some people feel pummeled by it. But are you excited to see what Coralie Farjat does next?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because I'll be honest, I haven't looked enough into it of like where she came from, or I'd love to go through the interviews of like
There's some
her and
interesting
Margaret
ones.
Qualley were discussing, and what her and Demi Moore, like, how does this pitch? Was she on first, or did she get Demi Moore? Or did Demi Moore get her, or how did this come up? There's a bunch of great stories that I have to assume are tied to this that I will go researching and down the rabbit hole because it is so intriguing.
And this is only her second film. There's one she's made before this from 2017 called Revenge. I highly recommend it. You'll absolutely be fine with it. And I think I mentioned it on the show last week. It is like an SA revenge thriller, but the style is very much the same. It's coming from a lot of the same. You can tell it's coming from the same voice. This is I think the substance is a masterpiece. I think this is her masterpiece. It's going to be hard. If she tops this, which she very well could, I'll be shook. But the
tough thing is, Chad, you were saying last week, of Oscars and all that and accolades. And I honestly think that the thing that's going to hold her back is the sharp turn.
Oh, this is never going to get, I don't think, into like any kind of
but it could.
Picture. It could. I would love for the Academy to have some balls and take a chance and just let, it's not that every movie is not art, but like let just something different in, guys. Like this is the kind of movie that really, it deserves that kind of recognition. Even if it doesn't win, it deserves the recognition of this is an important piece of cinema and y'all should at least know the name of it at the minimum. Because I know this is not for everyone. I wouldn't just broadly recommend this to everyone. Then even Coach, this isn't normally the kind of thing I would recommend for him. But I knew it was so special that I knew he would get like what I meant by it's that kind of good, even though he's kind of going into something that's not really his comfort zone. And I'm happy to know that you at least mostly liked it.
No, this would be an easy hour to 2 hour long conversation over coffee after a movie.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's about as high praise as I can.
For sure.
I just don't think Dolores would have made it through it. I mean, she had to get to the.
She would have needed the substance to.
Listen, she would have needed the substance to get through. There's the early bird dinner, and Rover doesn't go after 7. So
these mashed potatoes aren't going to gum themselves down. But yes, no, that makes me so happy. I really am glad that you appreciated it. And I definitely see where you're coming from too. And I understand your complaints. But I think just for me, it just was such an audacious and ballsy piece of confrontational cinema that it just 100% in every way worked for me. And yeah, that makes me happy, man.
On the other hand, I sat through a children's movie.
I
know it was a children's movie because holy man, the trailers were wild. And it's funny where you sit in front of this and there's a horror movie. You sit in front of a children's movie, and there was a movie I never even heard of. And they basically it's a cartoon where there's a police dog and a policeman. And they get into an accident and they say, let's save them by putting the head of the dog on the policeman. And then
that's based off a graphic novel.
It's now a cartoon movie for kids of Dogman or Dog Policeman or
Did you see this at the theater?
Yes.
Oh shit! I haven't even heard of it. Fuck.
Well, that's all these things that before the screening of this movie I saw were I've never heard of any of these things.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So I've heard of this Dogman thing through my kid because they're at the schools. These graphic novels they're at the library and kids go ape shit for this Dogman.
Is this some skibbity toilet nonsense? No, I'm just kidding.
It's I thumbed through it and laughed. I mean, it's stupid, but I like how long before this becomes an animated feature, and sounds like it is.
There it is.
But it sounded like they were making the same problem that I saw with Dogman in the trailer. I went and saw Transformers 1. Now, I am a Transformer animated fan. I am a fan of the movie. I think Transformers the movie is amazing. Even with the out of left field Weird Al song that just sure
What about
let's put Dare to Be Stupid in
Dare
there.
to Be Stupid with during the junk fight and Spike using the saying shit.
Yep, and the greatest song, the You Got the Heat by the Touch, or is it You Got the Touch?
You've got the touch. You've got the power by Stan Bush.
Okay, which is the greatest '80s rock ballad ever.
Absolutely.
But this modern Hasbro 2-picture version of Transformers 1 kind of gives us everything before, or almost I think it's a different origin story. Is that correct, Brad?
Yeah, I think they tweaked it a little bit. Yeah, I saw it as well because, like Dave, big Transformers fan, and I do enjoy the Michael Bay live action movies because where else are you going to go and feel really smart about anything you see, you know?
So I don't care for those, but
yeah, I don't really either. Yeah,
yeah. I mean that is they're mindless, and I like seeing shit turn into other shit. I don't know.
So the good thing is, like, the story is excellent. The animation is excellent.
Yeah.
The voice acting is awful.
Oh,
and it takes you out of the movie completely. Yeah. There's an ongoing. Sorry, I'm so fired up. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say it does only because yes. Listen, I do like the actors involved, but maybe because I am so seasoned in hearing a voice come out of a character like Optimus Prime. Orion Pax is his origin. I love Chris Hemsworth. I like Thor. I like all the movies he's done, even the good, bad ones. But if it's not Peter Cullen, it just loses something.
There's a character named Starscream that historically has one of the most original voices in all of cartoons.
Chris Latta.
It's amazing. You shouldn't be able to understand what he says because of the way he's saying it.
Yeah.
But it comes through crystal clear.
Yeah.
But now it's been replaced by Steve Buscemi. And all I can do is see this mouth moving with Nucky Thompson or Mr. Pink or there's an ongoing joke on Saturday Night Live because one of the guys there is married to Scarlett Johansson. And they basically make fun of, hey, do we need someone to play a black gentleman? Get Scarlett Johansson. Hey, do we need someone to play the Asian fella? Get Scarlett Johansson because she voices everything.
Yeah,
and that's all. That's so like.
And she was in this
one. So she's in it. Chris Hemsworth is in it. Steve Buscemi, Lawrence Fishburne, John Hamm. The only Brian Tyree Henry who plays. I thought he was great and didn't. I like him as an actor, and I didn't necessarily think, here's Soldier Boy, the guy from Atlanta, but like I never.
It didn't detract me. His voice didn't. Everybody else's kind of did. I kind of like
Keegan Michael Keel.
Oh yeah,
or Keegan Michael K. Yeah, like as Bumblebee, I actually thought fit.
Yeah. Maybe it's the only problem I had was with the Marvel crew, Chris Hemsworth and Scarlett Johansson, because Scarlett Johansson, I mean, it was pretty like I said, serviceable. It was very pretty to watch. Like I said, the story does hold up.
Yeah.
And it does show the origin of Optimus.
I was going to say it's a launching pad for like a new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is going to be more. There is going to be more because this thing is doing pretty well. It's one thing I will always laugh at, and you're going to notice this more if you watch movies like this. I never understand how robots run and then get winded. They'll run and they're escaping, and then they'll fall again. And I'm like, wait a second. Wait. I know this isn't real. I know this is about transforming robots, but I always go back to speaking of Lawrence Fishburne, The Matrix with Keanu Reeves during the fight when Morpheus looks at him and says, "Do you think that's air you're breathing? Because it's all a simulation." So yeah, when watching robots get winded, I was like, "What are you doing?"
And listen, I'm sorry, I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but
Yeah.
because if they made a movie about it, Scarlett Johansson would voice it. But like,
Dead horse.
like who is going to see this? Oh, look, Scarlett Johansson does a voice. Like nobody's going to see this. This is an IP that already exists.
Yeah. But let me ask you guys this, because if I went into this as someone who just, I know what the Transformers are, but as far as any kind of voice acting goes for any of it, I don't know that definitely like the way you guys do at all.
Right.
Would this work for people who are just like new coming into this franchise? Is it still odd?
They don't do what Pixar does so well. When Pixar has, gosh, I can't even remember her name, which is crazy, playing Joy, the girl from Parks and Rec, Amy Poehler. I don't think that's Amy Poehler the whole time. I don't think Sadness is, when I'm watching that movie, is the lady from The Office. I don't know it's Ethan Hawke's daughter doing Anxiety. I'm so in the story that I'm not even thinking of that. When I'm just like, man, really? Okay, Scarlett. Okay, great thing.
So this is distracting.
To me, yes.
Okay.
Brad, you're a little more of a Transformers fan than I am.
I'm probably more forgiving. I really did enjoy the story. The visuals are amazing, and it had enough of the lore that I'm a little familiar with. But it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of neat. I like this. I like this. I like that. And I don't know. The betrayal kind of shocked me.
That was kind of cool. I did think that actually the main bad guy, I didn't know was John Hamm. I thought it was Anthony Starr because because I thought it was because it was basically Homelander.
Very Homelander-esque, yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but no, what? And it, like you said, it had Starscream, it had Soundwave, it had Shockwave. Anybody else hold your hand up if your last name is Wave?
Right.
They had some funny quips, some good jokes, and
there's some decent humor in it.
But for me, it's not a huge buy, but it's a buy.
It's a rent. Or what do we say? Not
borrow.
I'd borrow it.
Yeah. And honestly, like it's something I want to see. I am kind of interested in it, even though I'm not really tied to there's so much shit out right now. And I had to go see The Substance a second fucking time. But there's just so much shit I want to see, man. And it's not that I'll watch anything. I don't have a problem with this at all. They're just things I guess I prioritize over others. Like if there's a horror release.
Have you seen Comet yet?
Okay. I'm gonna have to watch Comet, guys. We really ought to.
Zing! All right.
Well, I will say this. It was the only thing in my theater to watch because all the movies I wanted to watch were like miles and miles away. So
that is wild to me still.
Beyond Transformers, I sat down and I played some video games.
Oh, hell yeah.
I plugged in Red Dead Redemption. Part 2.
Oh, okay. I haven't played that one.
Which I enjoyed. Very cinematic game, which is my problem with it because as pretty as it is, I want to play. I don't want to walk up to a mountainside and then have the controls taken over for me for next 4 minutes.
Like I get you. Really quick before you go on, the very first game when it came out, I used to come home from work and I would literally just get in Red Dead Redemption, get on my fucking horse and just ride that bitch everywhere. And it was relaxing to me. I would just ride the horse and that's all I did for sometimes a couple of hours. And that's my sad life, guys. Anyway, sorry.
It's sad at all. So that got me thinking, okay, I like this style game. I like everything. So I dusted off Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh, shit.
And I played the story for a little bit, but then I thought, I'm going to go online. So I'm going to play online. And so I made my character. It doesn't look like me at all. So I'm walking around trying to do missions. Here's a spoiler. I'm awful at video games.
No,
I am freaking terrible at it. So, I mean, I held up a couple stores, got shot a few times holding up a store, scraped myself enough money to actually buy a couple weapons. So when I went into the ammunition, I bought a battle axe, axe thrower, whatever. So as I'm walking out of this ammunition, I brandish the axe, and I'm just walking around holding this axe. And there's two other players coming up. I don't know if they're friends, but they're talking. I'm wearing my headset, so you can hear them kind of talking. And I hear one of the guys say, "Oh, look, new guy, new guy, new guy."
Oh shit.
And I'm like, these guys are going to shoot me. These guys are just going to murder me. And if you walk close enough, you can see the guys' names. And the guy walks past me, and the guy says, "Let's kill him." And I'm keeping on walking, and I'm like, God damn it, I just bought the axe. And then the other guy says to the guy, he says, "What's his name?" He says, "I am Brad from Canada." He says, "Don't go near him. He's an axe, and he's he's got an axe, and he's Canadian. Don't fucking go near him."
There's a reason he can't cross the border.
So I started laughing. I started laughing my head off. The guy says, "No, let's kill him." He says, "Don't you fucking go near him." I'm like, cool. So they didn't.
Have you guys ever seen the elders react to Grand Theft Auto?
No. Oh my god.
So like basically there's a YouTube channel that did like elderly people playing Grand Theft Auto, and it's funny, there's this lady who's like just playing it, and no, that's a prostitute, no, and no, they're blowing things up. It's like, this is just for the male fantasy. And it switches to this old guy, he's just walking around and he just hits this woman. He's like, that's the first woman I've ever hit in my life. Like,
that is amazing. Holy shit. I've definitely seen some gameplay from it, but somehow I have escaped ever playing Grand Theft Auto. I don't know why. Because I know it's for me. I'm into it.
It definitely reminded me of what I'm going to talk about next, Tulsa King. Episode 2 came out. I'm really enjoying it, but I think I enjoy it because it is a little based upon Grand Theft Auto storylines, in which where a guy gets out of jail and builds up his own little mafia by using, like, buying businesses and taking over things, and but this, like I said, I'm enjoying the story, but this one had a little something that both Dave and I have a problem with, and it was stunt casting.
Yes.
So you have Dwight Manfredi, Sly Stallone, taking over,
mob guy,
great dude, all that, a kind of a heart of gold bastard.
Starts a casino in Tulsa, basically.
Yeah. And he has his new magic weed farm and this weed store. And for whatever reason, well, I know the reason, it has a recording booth in the weed store, because
why not?
Let me tell you, dispensaries are, throw a rock and you'll hit a dispensary around here.
Oh, interesting.
When I go into a dispensary, it is all plain white, and there's a lot of pictures on the wall. This dispensary in Tulsa looks pretty rocking. So, well, one thing it did have in it, like I said, was a recording studio, like recording booth, because you want to get high and sing.
That's what I do. I mean,
out of anybody who was gonna come and get high and sing, of course, it was Jelly Roll.
Oh my god!
Recording artist Jelly Roll is.
I've never heard his music, but I know who it is for sure.
I had no idea who he was until I saw him in the ring on a WWF match or WWE.
He's talented. He is.
Is he like a rapper, kind of? Am I wrong?
I mean, he does.
I have no idea. I've never.
He does kind of country. He's kind of like a fat, less talented Post Malone.
Okay, there it is. I get that.
But like again, he is a jovial guy. He's a great guy, great interview. Like very positive person and all that. I actually really like him. However, he can't act, and it's just like, okay, act like yourself. I am myself. Hi, I'm Jelly Roll. You're Italian.
I am
You're
Jelly
a
Roll.
mobster. Hey, do you know I sing? I'm gonna go and sing now. Sing, sing, sing. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely out of place for what is becoming like one of my favorite shows because it's intriguing. It's got
Yeah.
Frank Grillo in it. It has Donna. It's got some really great talent in it. And this just like one of these things is not like the other. Why is this guy here? So
yeah.
it got
It's not
Dave
a
and I.
show ruiner, though, right? Like,
It didn't ruin it, but it
yeah, I would
took me
hope
out
not.
of it. Like
Me out of the
everything,
episode. That
like
kind of
all
like what it
stunt
was at the
casting
end.
does.
Yeah.
So we started talking about stunt casting and what is the purpose of it beyond getting over a talent that might need getting over. It is like easy friend with the producers. Now there's two different types of stunt casting. A lot of it happens in Broadway shows.
Yeah.
They'll bring up a Hollywood actor, just come out and do something.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to, you can't really stunt cast movies because it's all stunt casting.
Right,
But
yeah.
when it comes to doing it for TV, there's two types. One, you have a out of place actor playing a fictional role, and the other
On
one
a
is
very special family matters, Red Buttons is stopping by.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Who the hell's Red Buttons?
yeah. When Mr. T shows up on
Oh my God! Right.
what the hell is it? Different Strokes.
Yes.
And he plays Mr. T. The other one is when you have Brad Pitt on Friends playing.
That's yes.
I didn't even know that was a
another
thing.
friend, or you have Will Ferrell in The Office.
The Office.
And then the other one is you have Snoop Dogg being Snoop Dogg on Weeds.
Holy
Which
shit.
okay, it kind of fits, but
It fits, but
Yeah.
like, come on. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are some examples. I never really understood the I don't understand how it happens.
If it felt more organic, it probably would be.
Well,
it just would probably come
I think
across
movies do it a little better. Like if
Yeah.
you look at like The Running Man, you have Richard Dawson playing like the
Game show host.
the game show host, and like yeah, he's a game show host in real thing, and now he comes over here and he gets to be a smarmy, you know.
But
game
it
show
works
host.
because.
But it
Yeah,
works.
I get it.
You know, Don Rickles in Casino. You have Andre the Giant in.
But you know what? Don Rickles wasn't playing Don Rickles.
And that's the difference. Yeah.
He was a character. And Andre the Giant, first of all, he is Andre the Giant. But he played a giant.
Yes.
So that I don't think that's stunt casting. I think that is
that's
appropriate
you're
casting.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Brad Pitt on
Brad Pitt Brad Pitt's playing Rachel's ex-boyfriend because she's currently Jennifer Aniston's husband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it adds clout to, I mean, I get it kind of. And I mean, at least that's like a real actor, not someone who's going to come and give a wooden 2 minutes and be weird.
Well, one of the shows that used to be notorious of this was Beverly Hills 90210 because they have the Peach Pit, and the Peach Pit is a live music. So it would be like
Color Me Bad.
Color Me Bad suddenly shows up to the
God.
Peach Pit. And it's just like, hey, what are they going to sing? Oh, that song that's like top of the charts right now. Great. Are they singing anything else? No, let's sing it again.
Nope. But we're going to drive sales for this song on this episode.
I mean,
we weren't buying the rights to any other ones, so you're going to sing that again.
Anthrax show up on Married with Children. The Village People did too.
Right.
Now, it's a lot of music hacks, but here's the thing. Okay, if I was not a avid Tulsa King watcher, and then somebody said, "Hey, Jelly Roll's on it," it's not going to make me tune in.
Yeah, I feel
the only reason I saw Jelly Roll is because I was watching it for, I don't know, Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
But I mean, then you have
it's not bringing more eyes.
Sylvester Stallone showed up on. Oh God damn it! What was that? That show? Oh, damn it! I just lost
What's it about?
No, it was about a. It had Mandy Moore in it. And
This Is Us.
This Is Us. Yes, Stallone.
I'm scared of that show.
Fucking Coach killing it.
Coach knows what's up, guys.
It just so happened I got paid for 10 years of my life to say, Who's in it? What's it about? Do you know that movie? Do you have that movie?
Yeah, this is Stallone actually showed up as Stallone playing Stallone.
Sure.
So, I mean, that kind of works. But I don't know if the producers are just fans of these people.
Sure.
One of the actresses is currently sleeping with Brad Pitt, so that's why he got put on. But their performance rarely does anything to elevate.
Well, it could be kind of too under like the same umbrella company total where they're trying to cross promote some things a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the one example that comes to my mind is when Kokomo was really big by the Beach Boys, and they were on Full House, and everybody at Full House went to go. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, the people who love that song like suddenly start watching Full House? Probably not. But I guess it could open up some people to that song.
Uncle Jesse's in the band.
Let's bring the Tanners up.
Have you ever heard weird for sure. The John Stamos funeral story?
I don't think so.
No.
So there's a comedian that does a whole bit, and he's basically like, in my will, when I die, there's going to be like however much his appearance fee is. So when I die randomly, everybody will be at my funeral crying, sobbing, and then they'll just kind of turn around like, how did he know John Stamos? Where he just wants to have a random celebrity just sitting in the back, and they're like, I'm going to instruct him in my last will and testament.
I would love that.
You show up late, you sit in the last row, and just
okay.
So, as I say that,
immediately,
who would you put in your will to be in the last row of your funeral?
Oh my God.
They would get everybody talking. How the hell?
But you can't go too big. Like, you can't go Robert Downey Jr. You can't go
no, Bryce. I would want to RDJ anyway.
I know mine.
Okay, Dave, who would you? You've obviously
no. I threw out the question, so I reserve at least to go second.
For me, just because it's so weird, and people would be like, I'm choosing Crispin Glover, guys.
Oh.
I want people to be like, why the fuck is Crispin Glover here? Of all people. It's such a bizarre choice. I was thinking about him recently though because of Friday the 13th.
So like I want like somebody like a David Cassidy, or like the first one that came to mind would be, she passed, but like Florence Henderson, like like why is Mrs. Brady
yeah
like I want like America's Mom to be like in the back. Like unfortunately, like we don't have those kind of shows. If we're going for like who would be alive, they'll be like Paris Hilton or Nicole Richie in the back.
Everybody's like, Coach Dave had a really secret life that we really didn't know about, guys. We knew he did a podcast, but God.
Yeah, man. He got the original flow.
Yeah, man.
Like, I would go, I don't know. I'd say Florence Henderson.
That's a good one, man.
We'll dig her up and put her in there anyway.
I was gonna say, dead or alive, I think is a pretty fair. Yeah, it's a pretty fair thing, man. And if they're dead, that just creates even more intrigue.
I think I want, I want Gary Oldman, but I want him to kind of slip into the back. And while the funeral's going on, I want him to fall asleep and snore very loudly.
I was gonna say, be in the Twizzlers outfit from Bram Stoker's Dracula, like you know what I'm talking about, like the red, like,
and wake up periodically and mispronounce my name. I remember Brett. Brett Steiner was a grand young lady.
Brett Piner was awesome.
We enjoyed her voice.
Yeah, she'll never.
Where is she?
Right.
I always
just cry and sob.
Where are the axes at? I want to throw one last axe at Brad.
I always told her he'd die by an axe.
Actually,
is that what
Brad,
he did?
Can I make a recommendation?
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
At your funeral, you put the casket up with a bullseye on it.
Oh man.
and just as
turned
people
into
come in, there's just axes.
Oh my god, that's actually kind of lit. I think
That'd
that's
be
not a
kinda
bad
cool.
idea, guys.
I got to fake my death just so I could show up for it and watch, see who
You
shows
want to see where
up
people
and
are going to aim on you.
we'll see
with
who's
that, with that
crying
kind
if
of a
they
situation.
throw, and see if like all my exes show up and they're
Right.
with vigor and their like arms are showing and such.
Or there's that great Irish video of the guy who did a whole voiceover where like they lower the casket and he's just knocking like, hey,
yeah.
let me out of here! Like they done
Pre-recorded his
screwed
voice.
up, you assholes!
I love that.
Oh my god,
No,
that's a really good. I love the axe throwing idea, man. That's just kind of morbid shit I would be into. Too.
I'm
You're
down.
dead at this point. Like,
That's
let
right.
people have fun, man.
What to say.
At least that's how I feel.
All right, well, who do you want at your funeral?
Yeah, bro.
Yes, who would you like? Whose retainer would you pay to show up at your funeral? What ridiculous event would you have? And guys, quick, what are we looking forward to next week?
Yeah. Oh god. Okay.
Megalopolis.
Oh yeah, Megalopolis.
I can't wait. I can't see it till Friday, but I'm seeing it Friday. I already know it's.
And
I'm probably in for a disaster, but
I want to see that that robot movie.
Oh, me too. Wild
yeah,
Robot.
The I'm Gonna Cry robot movie.
Yeah, me.
I think I shared it with the two of you guys, a friend of the channel, Pat Egan, having his son sneak a candy in to go see the robot movie.
It looks amazing. I can't wait.
Because I just want to see if the robot gets winded.
Okay, right, there it is. But I think the word like out of like TIFF and all that kind of shit is that it is excellent.
Don't make you cry. It's a robot talking.
I'm already
prepared
prepared
saving animals.
So there's another movie, and actually I saw the trailer for it at the beginning of The Substance today, and that is so the character at Civil War that what's her name,
Kirsten Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst talks about. There's an actual
Lee. Yeah.
Lee. So Lee comes out next week, which is
yes.
Kate Winslet, as the photojournalist during I think it's World War II.
I believe so.
And I mean it looks really well. So
this is one I watched the trailer for.
Yes.
I think the Joker's coming out as well.
It comes out the 3rd.
The following week, right? Or
okay.
mid follow.
Yeah.
Mid follow.
Is anybody interested in Wolves at all?
No.
I am.
I'm debating. All right, so let's rank these. So we have Lee, we have Megalopolis, we have Sad Robot, we have
Sad Robot, but
and then we have Wolves. Okay. So we'll go through each of our rankings for.
Go ahead, Brad.
Sorry. Yeah. At the top is definitely Sad Robot. It's called the Wild Robot. And Lee, I think Megalopolis does not really do anything for me.
It's gonna be a disaster, and I can't wait.
I'm curious for one part, and it's like, well, there's supposed to be an audience participation part.
Yeah, and I'm gonna imagine that's not gonna be in the wide release of it. I don't know though. It might have just been at those screenings. I know what you're talking about. And I would be surprised if they commit to that for every screening of this, but you truly never know. Right. Maybe every IMAX screening of it. I don't know.
But so for me, it's going to be Sad Robot, Lee, Megalopolis, and then Wolves.
Okay.
Yeah, Wolves I'll probably just watch at home.
Gotcha. Megalopolis is the one I'm seeing first. So I'm going to put that at the top because I have to know, guys. I'm so curious about this. I know I'm not in for the movie of the year. At least I'm assuming I'm not. I'm not trying to prejudge anything, but I just have to know. I'm just that fascinated by it. The Wild Robot, it would be really honestly kind of tied right there because that's the next of those that I plan to see. Lee, I really do hope I get to see it, but God, they're so many movies, man. So little
probably
time.
Won't be right away.
And then probably won't be playing in my theater.
And Wolves is it's Apple, right?
Yeah, it's going to drop on Apple.
I don't have that shit, so
it'll show what Apple on Saturday, theaters on Friday, or something.
Yeah, I think so.
And I'm definitely seeing, like, next week, I'm seeing Joker, and I'm excited for that. I'm worried about it because I think the first one's amazing, and it doesn't seem like maybe we're going to be getting that this time around, but always open mind, and I'm ready to go. I love Lady Gaga.
Well, also the following week is also Saturday night.
Yeah, I want to see that quite
Yes, I would like to see that. I know it's not playing near me.
Okay, right, we already know.
I'm sorry, unless it's got like a Marvel or a DC movie, it's not playing near me.
We need to make Canada into one of those memes where, like, the sunglasses come down and, like, it's like you get the music and it's like, you know, it's like, sorry again, bitch. Like,
yeah, no shit.
There's also like honestly, we have a bunch of movies. My favorite actress, she comes with one called The Outrun, which is Saoirse Ronan.
Oh yeah,
which looks amazing. Basically, it's, hey, look, Ireland's pretty girl in Pretty Ireland. There's just, you know what? For as bad as not bad shit, I want to say, for as bleak as a year has been, I think we're really starting to get a bunch of cool things.
I've seen so many things this year I love. There is one other movie I want to mention too that I know it's playing, I think, as of right now or this coming weekend, at least in my area. The only thing that sucks about it, and I'm afraid I'm not going to get to see it maybe in a theater, is it's only getting one showtime a day. It's always at night, and it seems like I'm always having to work super early the next day, and that's called Azrael. It's a horror film that I think doesn't have any dialogue, and it has, I cannot think of her name for the life of me right now. I'm trying to look really quick.
The cat name in the Smurfs.
Samara Weaving from Ready or Not. I love her. And I'm not sure quite what to make of this. I've not seen a trailer for it, but I think it's sort of like maybe a religious-y post-apocalyptic, sort of like she's running and like nobody can talk, and she's running from zombie-esque subhuman.
Oh, one of those.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you know, your usual like zombie-esque subhuman shit. But it sounds really interesting. I would love to see it. But again, that's one that is going to be a tougher one for me to figure out, just because it's only getting one showtime a day. And AMC, you have 24 screens. Let's go.
My last question for the group, and it's topical, is Piece by Piece, which is the Lego version of the producer, what's his name, Pharrell Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Due to the cast that is in it, do you think that gets postponed due to the Diddy?
Yes.
I'm going to guess they're going to have to.
I'm going to say hiatus. Yeah.
Unless they prepared for it and they're already ready to go with something that's an alternate cut of it, I think there's no choice really. But
yeah, that's the one. Like, I saw another trailer for that, and I'm like, ooh, how do we do this? Like,
yeah, and I can separate art from artists, but this is a family-centric thing. So.
Absolutely. You know, like, yeah, it's
heavy.
Yeah, it's a tough sell for a family-centric film, for sure.
Especially since you can't get away from it.
Yeah, and I don't think he is necessarily on the Diddy list. But I mean, as I'm going through, it's like Timberland, Justin Timberlake, Busta Rhymes, Jay-Z. Like, I'm like, there's some Diddy people.
Yeah, you never know that it's interesting. It'll be something to keep an eye on for sure. Like, I mean, it's hard to be exactly like certain about it, but man, it just seems like it's reckless.
Yeah.
Until you know.
And that's the thing. I don't want to be, and you know, you're right. That's unfair of me to be spreading the reckless thing, but it is kind of.
No, it's reckless to release, I think, until you know, like, as.
Well, the Diddy list is kind of like the other person list where it's like, hey, I made it to the island. I don't think I was supposed to come here for this. Or, hey, I'm on the flight log. I was just catching a ride from New York to Atlanta. Like.
A lot of questions, man, for sure.
Too many questions. Questions that we're not going to answer because
I wish I didn't bring that
we're
up,
just a TV movie podcast.
No, I love it. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Do you think the Lego movies? We always have a really smooth outro, guys. Always. Oh. That is what we're known for here at Scene and Video Podcast, is our smooth ass outros. But
Hello.
unless you guys have any other movies to talk, honestly, guys, thank you so much for coming back and listening to us. And doing Filth tonight was really fun. If you want us to do more stuff like that,
And the
always, yeah, okay. Filth in every sense of the word, but we're always open to that kind of stuff. And if there's a suggestion you have or something you'd love to hear us talk about, you can tweet at us. We have our link tree in all the episodes, and let us know, guys. We're very open-minded, and yeah, if too many things come in, yeah, we got to prioritize, but it's fun for us and puts things on our radar that maybe we haven't seen for a long time, or just would be really fun to talk about. So thanks for coming back, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Hello.
Have a good night, eh?
Good night, guys. Good night, eh?